Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. On this tutorial, I'll be teaching you on how to sew the hip padding, how to attach it to your skirt. I've done a tutorial on how to draft the hip padding, so you can go back to my videos if you've not watched it. So on this tutorial now, I'll be teaching you on how to sew it and attach it to your clothes. So this is my main fabric. This is the fabric I am using for this, and I am using this as the lining. This lining I'm working on. I already put a gum stay on my lining to make it thick a little, because I'm using this cheap lining. That's why I'm putting. If you're using maybe thicker lining, there's no need putting this gum stay on it. So you're cutting exactly the same measurements with the fabric and the lining. So now first I've used my pin to hold my zipper allowance. I did the same for the fabric, the main fabric itself. I've pinned down my zipper allowance so I can start working on it. So another thing I'm going to do next now, I've marked my dart. I only put that at the back pattern of my skirt. I don't put it in the front. So I've marked where my dart is going to be on this lining for the back, and this one too. So I am going to put my dart here first. So I have just finished putting that on my back pattern. This is the lining. There is that already. I already put that also on the main fabric itself. This is the that is in it. So what I'm going to do now is to go and mark my measurements on this. I'll first shape the lining. I'm using my exact measurement. That is either your exact measurement or your client's exact measurement. The exact measurement you're using for the dress, you're going to use it to shape this. That's what I'm going to do now before we come back to this one, because this is where the work comes. So I have just finished putting my measurements, so it's time to start sewing. I'm sewing, joining the back and the front. So right now I just cut out my foam for the hip and bust padding. So this is what it looks like. So the reason why I had to cut this out first, because shaping the main fabric itself, because you will need to join these four together. Don't squeeze, please. Just join it together like this, then measure. Whatever you have when you measure like this is what you add to your normal measurement while shaping the main clothes. This is my main clothes, so whatever I have 2 inches now, because I'm using half inch foam. So 2 inches plus my hip is 42, so 2 inches plus 42 inches, that is 44 inches. So I'm using 44 to shape my skirt while shaping. So what I'm going to do is now, as you can see, is 2 for the front pattern, 2 for the back pattern. I even had to mark up so that I won't make mistake. So I will join this. You bring one pattern of the back and one pattern of the front. You see how I indicated up and up. So I'm joining like this. Then I'll start sewing just like that. That's what you do for the two of them. Just sew it. That's it. So it's time to. I've finished shaping the main cloth itself, which I told you earlier that I used extra 2 inches because that's the measurement of the foam. So now I'm going to start attaching the hip padding to the lining. It's on the lining that I'm going to attach it, not the main cloth itself. So if you watched my previous video, you will see that while I was drafting the hip padding, I came down by 2 inches. So you need to mark the 2 inches before you start putting your hip padding. So now that I've marked my 2 inches, I will start placing the hip padding from that 2 inches. So you can first use pin to secure it first, so that it will be easier for you to sew. So you should first secure it with your pin first. Make sure your pin is holding it and it is smooth on this side. So that's how to secure it like this. See it, see how it is on this side. There is no folding. So what you will do now is you can pin as much as you want, depends on what works for you. So I'll just pin 2 and I'll start sewing. I'll just sew at the tip of this foam round. So I have just finished sewing it round. You can see it from the back what it's looking like. So I'll go ahead to do the same thing for this second part. So I've just finished sewing the both of them. So it's time for me to attach the lining to my main fabric. So this is my own way of attaching front facing front. I think it all depends on what you are making, sha. So for this particular style I'm making, I am sewing it this way. I'll sew it on the waist round. I'll sew it all over the waist. So as you can see, this is what it's looking from the inside. This is the zip part. So you can flip it over to the right face, and this is it. Don't forget, you can use any size of foam for your own. If you want to make the hip to be very big, you can use a very big, maybe 1 inch or 2 inch of the foam I used. So it's all about choice. So this is it. This is what I have here.